Hello, my Legionnaires! Today marks a day I have personally awaited for quite some time, as it is the day I finally have the chance to bash, slash, and rip into For Honor, a third-person action game that pits knights, Vikings, and samurai in a bloody eternal conflict. As with all my tactical briefings, I'll discuss the title's story, its strengths, and its weaknesses. For Honor's campaign begins with warring knight factions as they struggle for dominance against one another. A particular group, the Blackrock Legion, is attempting to recruit the strongest knights and dispose of the rest. The group's leader is Apollyon, a dark knight whose main goal is to create war and spread chaos throughout the world to destroy the meek. Her ambitions inevitably lead all warriors to lash out against one another and establish a global spanning conflict. The first third of the campaign as you play as the Knight faction. You begin by being forced into the ranks of the Blackrock Legion after proving yourself in a trial by combat, and eventually lead a campaign against the Viking hordes. The next section of the story has the Vikings take center stage as they battle amongst themselves for waning provisions and sees them strike out against the samurai for plunder. The final piece of the narrative shows the samurai unearth the real culprit of this many-year-long war between all factions as they attempt to unite the clans and face Apollyon head-on. Once you finish playing through all the story has to offer, you'll jump into the multiplayer. Here, you'll choose a faction to represent from the three aforementioned camps. After each match, you'll garner steel, or in-game currency, experience, loot, and war assets. The last of those serving to help progress your personal faction's standing in the online world by either attacking other territories or defending your own. At the end of a 10-week season, you'll be rewarded with unique armor for your faction. The game does have you relearn the basics and has you fight against your faction's leader to prove that you can defeat an AI in a one-on-one match. Once that's taken care of, you can hop into one of a handful of modes: 1 vs 1 duels, 2 on 2 brawls, 4 vs 4 elimination, 4 on 4 skirmishes, and 4 vs 4 dominion. In these modes, you can choose one of 4 classes in each of the 3 factions. Warden, Kensei, and Raider fall into the Vanguard, or all-around category. Shigoki, Warlord, and Conqueror fill out the heavy class, which focuses on big hits and large health pools. Berserker, Peacekeeper, and Orochi are assassins that can dish out high damage but have very little health. The Nobushi, Valkyrie, and Lawbringer make up the hybrid class, wielding spears and providing versatility to a team. Every class seems viable for each mode, and it's typically to the benefit of your team to have a diverse group. One important factor to keep in mind for all modes, except the one-on-one duels, are executions. If you land a finishing heavy blow on an enemy, you are given a prompt to execute them. Doing so not only restores some of your health, but also disables that player from being revived. This is a crucial factor to keep at the forefront of each of your encounters, as neglecting to finish off an enemy can sometimes spell a comeback for the opposing team. Besides unique finishers for each class, they all have access to a certain set of skills called feats. Feats are gained throughout a match for killing enemy players, defeating enemy minions, reviving fallen comrades, and capturing control points. These perks can be passive, such as killing enemy minions gives your character health, or active ones that can unlock a bow and arrow to fell a weak enemy, for example. Besides customizing your feats, you can also change the look of your champion, equip different weapons, strap on new armor, purchase scavenge packs with steel that unlocks gear for your specific character, upgrade said gear, and unlock additional executions and emotes. Let's dive right into what makes this game excellent. First off is the story. It isn't overly complex or deep by any means, but it provides a justification for all these soldiers to be slaughtering one another. I was pleasantly surprised by the campaign mode, and I think it's an excellent introduction to the fighting mechanics that For Honor has to offer. It clocked in at around 7.5 hours for me, and that was on the hard difficulty, which I recommend. Throughout the story missions, various observables and collectibles are scattered here and there, rewarding exploration. This can even lead to emblem parts and steel to be used to unlock various elements in multiplayer. Even the minor amount you accumulate feels like the game's incentivizing you to at least give the story a brief look in. Also, there's a surprising amount of personality and style from the usually masked protagonists. Each one you play as has doubts, tactics, and motivations that they aren't afraid of voicing out loud. My personal favorite, though, has to be Apollyon. She's a pretty straightforward antagonist, but her presence, style, and battle acumen are almost always unmatched. On the multiplayer side, For Honor actually has a lot of options for players of any skill type. One-on-one duels are the most intimate and stressful exchanges you'll face in the game, but they do an excellent job of highlighting the core fighting styles of the classes. 2 versus 2 brawls are the perfect place to join up with a friend and establish strategies to overcome your competition, while still capturing what makes the mono-y-mono duels so intense. 4-on-4 elimination and skirmish can still be quite extreme, but more people and power-ups on the battlefield allow for much more breathing room if a duel isn't working out in your favor. The 4 versus 4 Dominion mode has a MOBA-esque feel to it, where you can spend the entire match killing enemy minions and propelling your team to victory. This final mode in particular is where hit-and-run tactics are implemented almost constantly, so try and watch your 6. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that there really is a game type for all skill levels and playstyles. The customization is a great touch too. Tailoring your favorite class to a specific look is always an appealing factor, especially in a game with a third-person perspective. The additional executions and emotes are another fun way of personalizing your character and give you something to strive for as you amass the steel to acquire them. The final thing I want to mention are the nuances to battle and each character. For Honor is much more like a fighting game than it may seem initially. Each class has unique combos, feints, and skill sets that provides depth to each standoff. 2 people playing the same class will quickly demonstrate their skill when locking blades. If you happen to be the victor, then the satisfaction and gratification are immediate. If you aren't so lucky, maybe you'll learn a thing or two about your favorite class. Now to the lackluster aspects of the game, which are few and far between. Firstly, this game is intimidating, and there's no question about it. This isn't a game you can pick up and master in a day or even a week. Death will be your teacher, and if that isn't something you long for, then For Honor might not be for you. Next is the world map. It's overly evident that this is supposed to answer the question of the game's longevity after launch. The carrot on the end of the stick is that you'll be given specific loot after a season ends depending on how well your chosen faction fares. This aspect is understandable, but deploying war assets seems somewhat trivial and inconsequential at the time of this writing. For Honor provides a truly unique sword-fighting combat system that rewards skill and punishes button mashing. A substantial campaign introduces you to the world, players, and mechanics the title offers, and a good smattering of multiplayer modes round out the overall experience. The game's high skill capacity might turn off some players, but for those who commit, only greatness and glory awaits.
Apollyon.
Gotcha, Blackstone.
Agree with my report, soldier? Let me know in the comments below. Also, a big thanks to all the Legionnaires who dropped by to get my 2 cents about the game. If you are part of the Legion already, feel free to like and subscribe to see more of our tactical briefings. If you already belong to our ranks, share this review with a friend to help bolster our forces. To hear more in-depth thoughts on this game, check out our weekly meetings where I and my other general, Joe, will dissect it even further. If seeing the game live is more your style, then head over to the Twitch channel and join in on the conversation. Thanks for dropping by, and remember to adapt and overcome.